There we go. All right. Okay.
So we just got out of seeing a movie I've been wanting to see for a good long while, known as Snowpiercer. Directed by the same director of one of my favorite movies, a Korean film known as The Host.
Okay. Hold on, I gotta time this for a second. Because, the way the YouTube advertisement starts to work is I can't swear for about 30 seconds, or they won't play my ad. So, make sure, wait a couple more seconds.
While you're talking about that, I guess I'll talk about the plot while we're waiting for you to be able to swear like a mother.
Like Captain F-Bomb heads away.
When'd you get promoted from Sergeant Sarcasm?
when I become a family joke to you, apparently. Okay, there we go. Fuck me, this movie. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. See, that's what we call build-up, my friend. Anyway. Speaking of build-up, Jesus fucking Christ. That climax was not what I was expecting. Oh my God. All right. So,
So, yeah, I think I may have found one of, if not my favorite movies of the year.
I wasn't entirely, I was about 90% with this movie, because there was one problem that just bugged me through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And,
well, should we probably get to that after we explain about the movie first, so there will be some context?
Okay. So, for those who haven't heard about this movie, I would not be surprised if you heard, it's kind of, it's only very recently gotten exposure.
Yeah.
By the way, and this is something I was mentioned to you, you mentioned this is a foreign film.
Yeah.
But it's still published by Lionsgate, who have just been promoting the shittiest movies this year. Because they had Legend of Hercules and fucking I, Frankenstein are like the two major players. I read this online today. It's the only reason I know. And like those movies were terrible, and they got so much promotion. And this thing gets squat, and it's 10 times better than. Well, granted, they don't really have to do much to be better, but it's like, oh, it's like real. This is like your top size. Like, a relatively creative concept. Let's just shove this under the table. Let's give it like 2 theaters in all of like Northern California to play this in, or at least like one's closest to us.
Although apparently the one when it was had like its limited 1 theater release, it actually did really damn well.
So who knows? Maybe we like get a wider release if they're like. I mean, our theater was packed.
Because the director said he wasn't really too optimistic about it, but hey, things can happen, and I really hope it does happen.
I mean, our theater was packed, so clearly the word's getting out there, and for good reason. It's actually a good movie. But, so says Captain F-Bomb. But, I'm not gonna embrace that title, because apparently I've been living it since I was 16. So, what is this magical word called fuck? I like it. And thus my alternate persona was born. The origin story of Captain F-Bomb. Now that's a series. Playing now on Adult Swim. Anyway. No, Comedy Central. Anyway. Back to what I was gonna say. So the movie is basically it's based on a French graphic novel.
Yeah.
Is it the same? No, it's called like
something that I could not translate.
It's like Les Transporter something. That's as much as I've got of it. But anyway, it's basically about it's another post-apocalyptic movie where apparently global warming was counteracted by a series of like ice missiles, basically.
They used a chemical component that was dubbed CW7. The problem was that it worked too well, and it basically initiated the next ice age in which the majority of humanity was killed.
Sorry, now I can think of as the Ice King. I don't know if you watch Adventure Time.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Gunther, they did the whole work for us. I don't know why I'm giving him a lisp, but I can't do it. Yeah. I can't do it.
Gunther, look what we done. Oh. Nah, that's not more like Stewie. Damn it.
Wank. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But anyway, back to the movie. We will talk about this movie, I swear to God. Fuck, you know what we do in this show. We shouldn't be surprised at this point. So anyway, it stars Chris Evans, who is basically the leader of an underground rebellion at the tail end of the train, which is basically the poverty center, where they keep getting fed these protein bars every day. And I'll give the movie credit. Like, I kept poking holes in their logic, and they kept answering my questions. like, I was getting a little more annoyed.
Was that the main issue you were talking about?
No, the main issues with the central themes, because that really got on my nerves. But, like, it was like, well, how do they get the oxygen? Damn it, they explained that, too!
What was the answer for that one?
They had the big greenhouse.
All right.
It's like, because, like, wait a minute, it's like, snow covered all of the land. There's no plants anymore.
Yeah.
How are they getting oxygen for this? And they're like, oh, no, we have a green room with all these plants. I'm like, damn it! Where are we getting all their food? It's like, their aquarium. Fuck! They didn't answer where they got the fish, but I'm assuming that's
They probably put it on there beforehand, and, you know, fish can do a little thing called repopulate, just like people.
And then we never did find a chicken coop, so I don't know where the eggs are coming from, but that's really, you know.
It's possible they just decided not to show that because no point.
Well, I want to know. Like, that's the one thing I did like about this movie is, oh, by the way, I should finish explaining what the concept is.
Yeah.
Basically is, this whole train is led by this guy named Walter, I think. Was it Walter?
Curtis.
No, the whole train, not the photograph.
Yeah. Something like that.
Walton, who basically is revered as a god who controls the divine engine, which is an engine that keeps going over and over. The train never stops.
Yeah, basically, he is he's basically viewed almost the same way the fundamentalists view God. Like, they see him as this all-knowing, all-powerful entity. They even have what was basically just gave me memories of Sunday school. Like, oh, dear God.
Oh, that whole sequence. That I didn't like that scene, but we'll get to that.
It was so true, though.
Yeah, I went to Sunday school. It wasn't quite that.
Yeah,
bad.
It wasn't like that. It was obviously like kind of over the top, like for a purpose. But I mean, it was just. It definitely felt it. Okay. It brought some memories.
So
back.
basically, the whole concept is Curtis decides that Wanton, or the hell his name is, this isn't fit to basically want to take over the train. So the whole thing is basically playing a rebellion to get to one side of the train to the other. And the rest is just everything going to shit really fast.
Yeah.
In just increasingly horrible ways. And just, there's some parts I thought were kind of stupid. I'm not going to lie. There were a couple parts like the shootout scene where they're firing from one side of the train. I thought that was really stupid. But my main issue with this problem, though, is the way it's a theme we've seen 100 times.
Yeah.
It's saved by the fact that it's a unique concept, the whole train thing. So, like, that, it keeps it from getting boring. My problem is, like, a lot of the main villains, I guess, so to speak, are played in this just uproariously over-the-top manner.
Yeah.
And I get that was the point to, like satire for the rich thing, but I've seen that so many goddamn times. And it's a cliche I am so bored with. I am so bored. Like, Hunger Games is abused it to death. And again, they keep it from getting boring because they really just go all the way with it. I kind of respect that.
And they do find ways to, like, make these characters at least stay interesting.
Then, like, I like the rebellion characters were the ones that were actually given enough airtime to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, even the rich, like, Tilda Swinton, who played, you know, kind of like the...
Oh, the girl...
Yeah.
I hated her character.
I know, it's like, I don't like the character, but they found a way to keep her interesting. Just
I was so annoyed by her. Like, that was, like, I was so glad when, spoiler alert, Curtis finally just shoots her. Because, like, oh my god, I could not stand her. Not because like the movie is like, oh, you know, she's like, it's not like in Harry Potter 5.
Yeah.
You know, we had that one girl who was just such a delightfully great bad guy that you love to hate her. This is like, oh my god, you were so annoying.
I know, for me, I found it kind of funny, you know.
Yeah, you were laughing at this way more than I was. But
it's like, I think it was just, I'm not sure. I think it was the mannerisms, just the dialogue choice that she had. It's just like...
See, that really annoyed the crap out of me. Like, I don't know, it's so over the top, and it felt like a cartoon character. And I guess, like, and that really bothered me, because it feels like it's trying to be kind of this more realistic approach. I mean, as realistic, I mean, it's obviously stylized realism, just based on the direct way the director took it.
Yeah.
There's definitely a certain unique style to it. I like that. But I just felt like her, and especially like the girl, that basically, I kind of coined her the white Amanda Waller that appears in the beginning of the movie in the yellow trench coat.
Yeah.
You can't not see it now, right?
Yeah. Honestly, the funny thing is, like, I thought that was the girl who kept, like, talking smack to Jonah Hill in 22 Jump Street. for like a short
They
while.
look similar, but
Yeah.
no. And we, that wasn't the first time we got confused. And we had a debate whether John Turturro was in this movie for like an hour.
Yeah, but it's like, it wasn't him.
No, it wasn't. But like, it took forever because they look so damn similar. Because your screaming voice looks exactly the same. Right down like the law of John, everything.
Yeah.
And John Turturro screams in every one of his movies. So it's, except for Fearless. He didn't scream in Fearless, that I remember. But have you seen Fearless?
The only Fearless I've seen was the Jet Li one.
No, you should see this Fearless. It's a fantastic movie. It's
I'll
like
check it out.
1991 movie, Jeff Bridges. Look it up.
Right. Back to the movie, though.
And there's this oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
I will admit on that over-the-top thing, though, with Ed Harris, it did kind of bug me a bit. Because it's like he was like a muted over the top and didn't jive well. Like, at least with like Swinton, there was personality to it.
See, I agree that I didn't really like the way Ed Harris did it either, but I found it more tolerable than whatever the hell the other girl's name is.
Tilda Swinton.
And
I understand that, because like I think, as you said, you're kind of looking more for, like, as you said, even though it's stylized, you're kind of looking for more of that realism. Like,
the problem is, like, especially the point where they get in the train station with a bunch of guys with axes. By the way, I loved that visual.
Oh!
Because that is one of those moments of, like, oh, you know something bad's gonna happen.
It's like, basically, it's like this girl who basically, they don't explicitly say, they just hint that she's probably, like, either psychic or something else.
By the way, that's a very kind of, it was a plot device. They didn't, like, really explain. It was like, where the hell do psychics come into this? It's like a Stephen King
like
book.
I said, they didn't say she was. Like, the other thing I was thinking was, like, maybe she was in tune with the train, maybe.
Either way, it's like, you're kind of just throwing supernatural crap in there for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
But,
I assume that she was just, like, she just had really keen senses. Like, you know, because, like, it's like, she could, maybe because I just saw as the person who actually listened.
Oh, by the way, I couldn't quite tell this from the second they showed it, but were the protein bars made out of shit?
Crickets.
Okay, I couldn't tell. They all look really disgusted. It's like, wait, so are those bugs I'm looking at, or is that?
Those are bugs.
Okay, those are bugs.
And like that's why I said that made so much sense.
Where are they getting the crickets from?
They had a freaking manta ray in an aquarium, and you're wondering where the crickets came from?
Hey, you know what? You bring up these, you invent this world. I'm gonna ask questions. All right.
In all fairness, though, it's like crickets are like
they're probably in the same place as the chicken coop.
Probably. Well, also they're just like they're such a common bug. That's the thing, and like they're small. They could easily be stored. Then all you gotta do is grind them up into a freaking crap Jello bar.
I was like, it was just cricket. That doesn't sound that bad. Like, they were like really disgusted. It was like, I don't know if the crocodile hunter can do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Here's the thing: a lot of these people didn't quite grow up in that time. They'd forgotten, like, they'd been used to, eating normal stuff before. So the fact they're kind of brought down to a peasant level, which, by the way, I also love that kind of concept, was how it felt like they were going through, like, the history of France throughout this entire train ride.
History is not my subject, so that's...
Well, not necessarily history, but, like, I found parallels. Like, like I saw, it's because being based on a French comic, I thought, okay, maybe they were paralleling, like, the French revolutions, that thing where, like, for a split second, people stopped fighting when they're like, Happy New Year. And I was like, that was kind of reminiscent of, I think it was like between the French and the Germans in World War I, where they had actually stopped fighting on Christmas Day to, actually celebrate peace. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually know that's they actually made a movie about that.
Yeah, I know.
A great movie, by the way.
Yeah, I heard it was an excellent film.
Yeah, I think I actually have it. Yeah. Like, I got it from Netflix, I never gave it back. I keep meant to, but I lost the envelope, but that's a whole nother thing. Eventually, I'll just pay for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Thing. But anyway, like, the action scenes are great. I mean, my God, they are brutal. brutal friggin' action scenes. There was some parts, like, right after they get, like, they bring up this Asian guy. Was he Vietnamese or? Korean. Okay. He was a Korean guy and his daughter, basically, who's, like, designed all the gates. I guess they're in some kind of, like a sleep chamber. Like sleep chamber, thank you. Cryogenic stasis, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah. I don't know what the hell it was. Either way, they wake him up and basically drag him along, bribing him with explosive drugs. And as soon as, like, the old...
And I loved the little twist they had with that near the end, too.
I kind of saw... So I knew they were going to do something with that. Yeah. Because, like, they have the old guy from V for Vendetta who plays, like, the older, but, like, the very, very, old member of the train who's like the original leader.
Oh yeah,
before,
John Hurt.
John Hurt, before Curtis takes over. And he's missing like a leg and an arm and all this stuff.
Yeah, that... I also appreciate that they actually did emphasize how that happened and for a much stronger point.
Oh yeah, the monologue at the end.
Yeah, I just like...
That's pretty much what that monologue for. That's pretty much when shit got real.
Yeah, just like...
It was like,
Jesus!
Whoa, that got really dark really fast. Like,
yeah.
darker than we were...
Yeah.
Because this point was pretty relatively tame in that regard. Aside from the, the brutal action and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're going to just, dive headfirst into Hannibal territory.
Yeah.
We're going to cover that in a bit. But there's a part where they get to, like, the third gate or so, or at least the third gate that they show us after they figure out the whole thing's made by crickets. And, by the way, the entire time, like, they're getting messages in these little pill forms that just say one words, and I don't know what the message is supposed to mean. I guess they're code for something.
Yeah, because, I mean, like...
did they make that clear, or did I miss that? Or
they're all codes about, like, what was coming up next. Like, when it said water, they're going next to water train next.
That makes sense.
They said blood, that obviously meant...
Yeah.
I'll explain later.
Yeah. Because, basically, whenever they run out of something, they don't say we ran out of this. They just say they went extinct. Because I guess that makes them sound more, like, Jurassic Park members, I guess. So, like I said, like, they think...
Well, when you think about it, because that is to emphasize the fact that, at least to them, this is stuff that's never coming back, they're never going to get again.
True. Yeah, I guess that's true. From that perspective. Either way. But they just kept saying stuff like, they think bullets were extinct, because in the Ross Rebellion, they just pretty much shut up everybody, and now, like, they think British guns are carry around just for show.
Good little double twist on that.
Yeah, but it turns out later, I'm not going to get it away yet, so they beat up the guards because they think the bullets are gone. They start with the train. They get to one train member, like the maybe not psychic. He yells, "Oh no, don't open that door!" And they open the door, and there's like this army of just guys in these like ski masks with no eye holes. So I'm guessing they have some like glass underneath their.
No, you can still see through them.
Either way, that's not very. Yeah, that doesn't even much for visibility. Just carrying a bunch of like axes and spears and everything.
But yeah,
like
it's
that.
like I think they were trying to. They definitely remind me of like executioners.
I guess, yeah. So I guess from that perspective.
Those double-bladed axes, just like the hoods that just look just like it.
Yeah, but you know why they don't put executioners on the front line? Because they can't see anything.
Well, they weren't in the front line. They were technically more in the middle.
The people were right smack dab in the front there. I think I'd call that the front line. I don't know about you, but...
Yeah, some of them had eye holes, and then others, I don't know, they were just able to see through it, I guess.
It looks really scary, so... Yeah. Next, we get a big, long action sequence. Pretty cool, actually. It definitely feels very stylized. Like, almost like they're kind of going for a 300 thing.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Because there's part of the slow motion.
Captain America is Leonidas.
He has the beard. And just starts just murdering everyone with an axe, blood going everywhere, and just people just going freaking nuts. And then everyone stops. Because they're about to cross a bridge that signals the new year. So
yeah. And that was the thing, like, I love the dark humor throughout this movie.
I think you found it more funny than I did. A lot of the jokes I didn't really find great. But.
No, it's just the idea, just like this guy just dripped in blood, like even in his mouth, just like looks over and smiles at the guy he's about to kill. It just...
I call that, fair play.
Like, it's a mix. Like
I've played Halo. That shit happens.
It's like, for some, it's going to be like really creepy. Others, it's like, it's going to be a little funny, I'd say.
I guess. Different boats. All that. But, so all that happens... They get through after a pretty, like, oh shit one with, like, the light switch and everything like that. And then they capture the very annoying, the person I found very annoying, annoying girl with glasses who really pretentious. You poor people can't possibly think about getting with rich people. I hate that stereotype. I'm so sick of it. But, I've seen so many fucking times. I'm sorry, just really, I'm really annoyed by it. Like, can we just... do something interesting with it, but I digress. So they capture her, and she basically says, "Oh, this guy I was just praising and saying he's basically a god. I will lead you to him so you can kill him. Just spare me." Spare me. And so she tags along for a little while until it turns out they're not out of bullets, and they really just lead to a big reveal where like the guns are in this giant basket of eggs. Again, I don't know where the eggs came from. It's never explained. Let's just assume there's a hidden chicken coop.
I'd say let's just assume that they passed the chicken coop. There's no need to show it.
They probably just didn't want any complaints from PETA.
Possibly.
That's my best explanation.
But it's like, yeah, it's almost like they wouldn't really need to show it. That's the thing at that point.
I think they need to show it. I want to know where those eggs came from, damn it.
Well, as I said, assuming that there's a freaking aquarium with a freaking manta ray, it's like you gotta assume that
you can show the aquarium, but we can't see the chicken coop.
Because an aquarium on a train is interesting. Chickens on a train
I want to see some fucking chickens on the train. All right.
Well, we digress.
No, we don't digress. I want my chickens. I'm suddenly really hungry for chicken wings.
Ironically, I was going to get some chicken tenders before the movie started, but they were expensive. Anyway, let's move on.
Well, I guess I'm going to Famous Dave's tomorrow. But, okay, so I'll let the chickens go for now. And, yeah, so we see an aquarium, which was awesome. I love aquariums. I go to Monterey every chance I get, but, yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. Also, just make sure, was that Reese Witherspoon who was the school teacher?
I thought it was Kristen Bell, but
no, her face is narrower, angular.
Yeah, it could have been Reese Witherspoon. I don't know. Look it up, but and we'll sell the whole John Turturro thing once and for all too while I'm at it.
But anyway, that's the other thing. This movie had a really good cast.
Surprisingly, it got a lot of A-listers, especially for its more indie movie. Yeah,
Chris Evans, John Hurt, Ed Harris. Oh God, who else? I saw a few people from The Host who made returns, like the father-daughter. They were also father-daughter in The Host, as well as one of the military guys from The Host was in there as the guy who cooked the food, which I found funny. Oh yeah, Jamie Bell was in it too.
And, Jamie Bell played Edgar.
And, Octavia Spencer.
No, you're both wrong. It's Alison Pill.
I actually know who that is. I just can't think of who that is exactly.
Let's see. She was in Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, she was the lesbian girlfriend. Okay.
No, she wasn't.
She wasn't?
No.
And who the hell was she? We'll deal with that later.
No, I want to know now. Hold on. You keep talking. I'm gonna look this up.
No, she was the singer chick.
Singer chick.
The one who was part of the band.
The
one who was dating the third person.
No, she was apparently Kim Pine.
Yeah, there was a lesbian girlfriend.
No, like the girl who was a lesbian girlfriend was in Parenthood. I know that for a fact that's not her.
Never mind.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah. This sidetrack was brought to you by
Charleston Shoe.
I was gonna say that would have been a good spot to have your advertisement happen, but
wait, which? What are we talking about? That's my boy?
No, I don't know. I assumed there's going to be a break in this video somewhere, so...
Oh, well, there you go. Back in 5 seconds. You know, I gotta actually look at the video now and figure out the exact timestamp when this happens. Why are we still freezing? It's only...
I don't know. Okay, let's get back to the thing. Alright, back to the review. So anyway, after the gunnery scene happens, basically... most of the people from the back of the train get killed, including John Hurt's Gilliam, who's basically kind of like the engineer who's supposed to take over once they got to Walton. And of course, that's the point where like things start to make a very different turn from the train. Like,
yeah, and by the way, where do these people actually live?
Well, as you see, there's a lot of trains that have beds and whatnot.
I guess so.
But because as you notice, if you look at the amount of trains or the cars outside from the train that get destroyed, you realize they skipped quite a bit.
Yeah, and pretty much after the fight with the axe murderers.
Well, we were just describing
Captain America versus the axe murderers. Sorry. Yeah. What part did you leave off on?
We were just talking. I think we just blew through the Sunday school scene.
Okay, yeah, that scene annoyed me. That kind of goes back into the whole "we proper people" cliche that just annoys the crap out of me. And I was like, oh my god, can we just please speed this along? But they just extended it so damn long.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh my god, just wrap it up. I'm sorry, I'm so tired of that cliche. I'm so tired of it. We've seen so much of it in the recent years. But, anyway, And then there's a part where, like, basically the guns come out, and then we got this fucking psycho hitman.
Yeah.
Who's never even given a name. He only has one line in the movie. And we don't really know much about him, except that clearly he's a fucking psycho that you wouldn't really let anywhere. And there's a shootout scene that I thought was really stupid. It's the part where he's halfway across the train from Chris Evans, because he kills John Hurt.
Yeah.
The old dude. And
we also forgot to mention some other people. Well, we'll talk about those characters later, I guess.
Basically, Edgar is an Irish dude who has an Irish accent, even though he's born on the train, so I guess that doesn't really make sense when you think about it. And he gets killed.
Well, in all fairness, it was there was a lot of people of different ethnicities in there. Like,
fair enough.
Spoke Spanish.
Fair enough. That one I'll let go.
Yeah.
But he's basically...
Plus, no, he wasn't... Oh,
yeah,
you're right.
He was Chris Evans, second command.
I forgot. I was going to say, you're right, he was born on the train, because I forgot.
They made that very clear.
Yeah, I forgot. Never mind.
They make that very clear towards the third act. But he's basically Chris Evans' second command, and he fights along until he has to make a choice. Chris Evans has to make a choice. It felt like a very Mass Effect or Walking Dead decision moment right there.
Which kind of also shows how this is the part that made Chris Evans' character really interesting, is that he was willing to regretfully make the sacrifices to, like, go forward to get the job done. Yeah,
like, he's got a choice to either save Edgar, gets taken hostage by this big guy, or capture the other chick and basically end the fight right there.
Yeah, and I was actually kind of surprised by that choice.
Yeah, like, I was surprised too. So I'm glad they did that. That was very unexpected. So I'm glad they went with that way. But Edgar dies, he's gone, and eventually after the big gunfight out, most of the rebellion is basically done.
Yeah,
and psycho dude kills the old dude, and then Chris Evans kills really annoying pompous chick in retaliation.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much where everything gets really extreme.
Yeah,
and then after that, like. Anyway, back to the part I thought was really stupid, was the part where, this is like the only part I really had like, oh my, this is really stupid. Like, that's the only part I really went with. Everything else I was fine with. I know I'm bitching a lot. I like this movie. I think it's really good. Yeah. But I do. And we'll talk about the stuff I really liked in a bit. But this is something just like, I'm being a horrible nitpicker. I will completely admit that. But the part that really bugged me was the part where he's trying to, the crazy dude is trying to shoot Chris Evans, who was all on the other side of the train, and he can somehow see him. Which on its own makes no sense. I know it has big freaking windows. There's also like at least like 50 yards between them.
Yeah.
There's no way. But somehow he hits him and barely misses. And Chris Evans shoots the other guy and barely misses. And they go back and forth like this. It's a completely pointless shootout scene. Because there's no way in hell either one's going to hit the other. You know, the train's going at God knows how high a velocity. Those bulls never even come close. Unless you're that good of a marksman, which I seriously doubt, because there's no shooting range as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So that really just, I was like, oh, come on, guys. And like, you're stretching how much I can believe here. Yeah. It was like, they were doing a really good job at that point of covering their tracks. Like I said, they were answering a lot of the nitpicks I had before then. So, in that regard, it's like, that was more like, oh, come on, guys, we don't need this. Like, this is really just pointless. So, and they didn't need it, because like 5 minutes later, they had the gigantic freaking murder spree in like a sauna room.
Oh god, where they kill off like
everybody.
Yeah, just like
everyone just dies. All except like 3, just boom, we're gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
That was basically his role in the movie. He's like a freaking Terminator. He just doesn't die. He's a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah. And
so said Captain F-Bomb.
Yeah. It's like I was one of the things like I guess I didn't even realize how late into the movie we were. So it was like I was surprised to see like these people get dispatched the way they did.
I know, just one gigantic dude, just like, I'm just gonna kill all of you.
Yeah, just like the martial arts parkour guy just gets like probably one of the more painful deaths.
I mean, his role in the movie was just to be the parkour
all you gotta know is
fight guy.
Yeah,
he has a tattoo. That's all his character is. Yeah. So he's like,
yet he was strangely likable. And, like, it was hard, it was weird. It's just, I think it's just because he was, like...
straightforward?
A very straightforward and loyal person. Like, that's kind of what I picked up from him. Just, I don't know, I think the tattoo thing was kind of, you know, kind of perked my interest. Like, admittedly, thankfully they didn't, like, focus too much on him, because, like, they knew what he was for.
I'm kind of wondering how old he was. I have to assume he was at least, like, he had to be, like, on Earth beforehand, because there's no way he would have gotten those tattoos on the train.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it looked like he was probably about the same age as Jamie Bell's character. And
So, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I saw it, though, it's like there are ways to get those tattoos, though. Like, I'm not sure how, but like you see how like they kind of got different forms of contraband on the train. They could easily just make ink with it.
True. I don't know. I'd be curious to see that. I guess the thing. I guess the reason I'm asking so much because they make a very, very creative little world here, and I guess I'm curious. Like I think Lisa says, like I'm curious about everything. So like, especially in a world that I can believe in, I want to kind of like, okay, well, where does this come from? Where does that come from? Like when you cover the major bases, like the air things, like I'm kind of I start becoming curious about the little things.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how would he get that tattoo, and how would they do this, and how would they do that? I want to know more. So like that's actually in the movie's favor that I'm asking those questions rather than just me being a nitpicky asshole, which admittedly I'm being. But
yeah, but this pretty much just shows you like how much the movie kind of sucks you in because this train really is a freaking world.
I mean,
quite literally,
it is a very convincing one too. It's a very interesting one, and again, that's what saved it from like the annoying cliches that really annoy me from like really like killing it for me because like I want to see more of the world. Like I want to see what else is out there on this train, and and that's originally I had a preconceived notion that like the housing department was like after the rave trains. That's why I was leaning over to. It's like, wow, walking the kids to school must be horrible.
Yeah, that I kind of liked though. How at that point though you kind of see like everything starts to diminish like in a very strange way. Like you kind of get like it goes from like these different eras of time. So like you kind of obviously get like times of the revolution going to more like a modern time or like kind of that 50s 60s era. And then when it kind of gets to the modern day, you see things just kind of get grimy. Like they're in, as you said, you know, kind of in this rave world where it's just like it reminds you kind of like of a, then it goes to like a drug den. And just like it's like a very pessimistic view of based just like how the world's, you know, kind of what it turned into, and really it's like,
you know, it kind of reminded me of you said you watch Adventure Time, right?
Yeah.
You ever seen the Dungeon Train episode?
Yeah.
Like honestly, the movie kind of reminded me a lot of that. And for those who don't know, the Dungeon Train episode is basically an episode where like they get on this train, but it's a dungeon, and there's more and more stuff, like more something. Like, the train never ends. They just keep going around and around, just keep finding like new stuff to do. It's like, well, we killed these guys before, yeah, but now they're a different color. Anyway, that's kind of reminding me of though. Same level of obsession too, ironically enough. You know, it's bad I'm comparing an R-rated movie to Adventure Time.
But anyway, so eventually, yeah, they get to the end. Only 3 people survive to get to the end of the train. It's Curtis, Nam, and his daughter.
Yeah. And basically, Nam and his daughter. Nam is basically like, I'm basically not using the drugs. I'm making a gigantic bomb because there's a gate on the side of this that'll take me outside, and it looks like the snow is probably melting. Yeah.
Which is actually kind of an interesting fact, because like that is basically one of those truths about, you know, things like global warming and, you know, the ice ages, that eventually it's like the world will chill down, but eventually it's going to warm back up again.
All we need to see is Manny and the sloth walking by at the end of the movie.
I think the polar bear was a much better choice.
See, I was trying to think of a good Lost joke when I saw that polar bear.
All I could think of was only you could prevent global warming.
Snowy the bear. How would that commercial go?
Oh, there's no one to talk to. But anyway,
only you can prevent climate change. Shut up, Jerry. We're trying to drink our Coke.
Oh, that would be such an awesome ad. Oh, but anyway, so
we need to hire an animator.
Yeah. So anyway, they get to the end of the train. Nam gets shot. The daughter's unconscious from drugs and alcohol. And yeah, Ed Harris is there and just like, yeah, you know what? Fun fact, we actually I'm the guy who's sending you the messages. John Hurt's been working with me. We do this as a form of population control to make sure the train doesn't go overboard and crap.
Maybe I'm just a horrible person who's like, I kind of get it.
Yeah. And I was like, that was the thing. Like, it made sense.
I know. And I felt horrible.
I know. It put you in Chris Evans' shoes. Just like, oh, God, it makes sense that it's horrible.
It's like in I've been replaying Mass Effect 2 on the side, and you have the whole genophage moral thing in there. The problem is, like, even when I first played it when the game first came out, when I play it now, I'm like, I kind of agree with the whole Genophage thing.
Yeah.
It's like they had good reasons. I mean, I feel, does that make me a bad person? Probably. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I should run a train.
Yeah. And that's kind of leads to one of the main great things about this movie is the moral ambiguity of a lot of things.
There was a lot of gray area. And the climax, oh my god, this climax.
Yeah.
Like, this is just where, like, everything just goes horribly wrong.
Where basically it's revealed that, sorry, I keep forgetting Jamie Bell's character's name.
Which one? Oh, Edgar.
Thank you. Basically Chris Evans spills his guts out about, like, which kind of gives you the reason, like, why he wanted to, like, liberate everyone.
And why he didn't want to remember.
And it's because the whole thing's almost meant to be like a redemption tale, basically. Which you don't realize until the end.
Yeah.
But, although it's hinted that, you know, obviously he did some very horrible things, and it's like, what could it be? Oh my god!
Like, yeah, this, towards the end of the movie, just all of a sudden, we're, like, I don't know if you're watching my face, it was kind of just like a...
Yeah. I think we're just both like...
Just
like, it's like
disgusted.
It's like the animals watching Marge and Homer in the Simpson movie.
I haven't seen that, but
it's like basically do like this Disney-esque setup in which they're about to, you know, they're about to have sex, and so, you know, after they're like doing all this stuff, it pans with the animals. They're just like all smiling. And it just like goes from like this, it just like the most horrified looks. Where like even Bambi's getting his eyes covered by his mother.
You know, I would judge you on making that comparison, but I just compared it to Adventure Time like 10 minutes ago, so I have no. Granted, Adventure Time also has incredible depth to it, but that's a discussion for another time.
But anyway, it turns out that in the beginning, before they got these protein bars of crickets, basically they resorted to cannibalism to stay alive, and they quote unquote feed on the weak. And
I'm sorry, I'll let you finish. But Beyonce had the best out. No, I'm sorry. I know, it's an old joke. But the girl who was on the train, she played the drummer in Scott Pilgrim.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I was like, wait a minute, I'm getting a picture.
Yeah, okay. Now it. Oh right. Now it makes sense.
Okay. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, so. Basically, it turned out that, at some point, Curtis had actually killed Edgar's mother. He was about to kill the baby to eat him, because apparently, as he said, and the worst part of eating people was that I knew that babies tasted the best.
I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, I was just like, Jesus! And he had like and just like, Chris Evans sold it so well, like, even he just like, completely disgusted with himself.
I just really like to see Hannibal in that situation, he goes, yes. Yes, and
basically you find out that Gilliam, John Hurt's character, is basically like missing a bunch of limbs. You find out that apparently he'd actually cut off his arm and fed it to the people to like spare the baby.
Yeah, and like apparently, and then everyone started doing that.
Yeah, and Chris Evans, you know, kind of
not a fan. I want to jump on board.
Yeah,
by the way, and which ties into like a statement they make early in the movie. It's like, "You're supposed to lead us," and it's like, how am I supposed to lead with two good hands? And like that's like, I'd imagine the old-fashioned way.
Yeah,
you know, like kind of added context.
And that line just like makes so much more sense.
I know, and it makes it much more grim. Now looking back, it's like, oh my god.
Just wow.
And then right after that little bombshell, I thought they were going to go one of two ways with the Walton reveal, because like I thought what they were going to do, the fact that he was dead the whole time.
I thought the same thing too.
Or they were going to be he was like a really old decrepit man who was just basically just on life support.
Yeah, kind of like what's his face in Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, like one of those things. Like it's one of those things that either one or the other usually. Yeah. So,
but no, it's just he was oldish, but not old.
He was fine. He was eating steak. He was cooking.
Yeah. I am so glad they didn't go the route that we thought, because
no, we both thought earlier in the movie, white Amanda Waller takes two little children to the front of the train. We don't know why, and we both thought the exact same thing.
I was like, because you don't see the children anymore. I was like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh thank god.
Like we thought he ate the kids.
Yeah, and I was like, because it would have made such a great tie into the conversation too.
I know, but at that point, it's like, no more, man. I just no.
And it turned out, but of course, once I got that, got past, I was like, wait, they're got to be using them for the engine somehow. And sure enough,
yep, they were basically doing manual labor because parts started breaking. But, like, I'm kind of glad, though, because it would be the second case, like, between this and Hannibal, where they made cannibalism look really delicious. Yes, I said that on camera. I'm sorry, say what you will about Hannibal, but the food always looks fantastic. And I always feel horrible every time I think that's like, that looks so good, but it's people. But I kind of want to try it. Except for
Soylent green beans. Oh, God.
So much ew.
Yeah, but anyway, Nam, who was also shot by White Amanda Waller, basically, it gets to the point where, like, other people start to go to the front of the train to kind of,
like the rave dude comes back for the people who kept, because they kept stealing the drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, as does the assassin guy, who apparently not die.
Does not die. This guy.
Yeah, despite getting shanked in the freaking kidney.
Just goes, nope, I'm okay. I feel fine. I feel happy. I feel happy.
I feel...
Too much money, Panther. No, you're not. You'll be dead in a moment.
Yeah. But, anyway, and basically this part where Chris Evans basically told, I want you to run the train. He basically says, screw it, No,
he doesn't at first. Yeah. He doesn't at first. He doesn't until he sees the kids. He's almost on board with it. Yeah. Then he sees the kids, and that's when he just freaking loses it.
Yeah.
And, like, oh my god. Like, the case of I should have seen this coming, because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Was the part in this whole time, the Asian girl has, like, lit the bomb on the other gate on the side of the train, and that blows up, which blows up at the gate, but also causes a gigantic freaking avalanche.
Yeah.
Which, you put a bomb on the side of a train, you're kind of asking for that.
Yeah.
Granted, on the other hand, like, that makes complete sense. On the other hand, I was kind of wondering why that didn't happen sooner, because you have a super fast, super loud train going by gigantic piles of snow on a regular basis. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna let that go.
Yeah. Because if that happened, we wouldn't have a movie now, would we?
Yeah, I know. Like, that's when, like, the lights went out and the act field started going. I was like, wow, this is a really short movie.
Yeah.
It's like, shun, 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 shun. Da, 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 da.
That's all, folks.
Now, that would have been an ending. No, instead we like that just because gigantic sequence, like that train just freaking everyone fucking dies.
All except for the daughter, whose name I keep forgetting, and the son of Octavia Spencer's character.
Who's like only 5 years old, so that's gonna be a long time for repopulation to begin.
Yeah.
But, and then they see a polar bear, and then the movie ends.
Yeah, the movie had a very bittersweet ending, because basically it's just like...
Bittersweet? Everyone dies!
Yeah. Well, it's like, because Nam and Chris Evans, basically they do the life hug around the kids to protect them.
Yeah. I half expect to see the guy with the egg basket going, bring out your dad!
Bring out your dad! But the reason why I say bittersweet is because obviously, despite the fact they're the only ones surviving, they actually give that sign of hope that, things can recover eventually.
Sorry, now I just have the image of the psycho killer pulling out John Hurt in his shoulders. I got one for you right here. I'm not dead. Shut up, you're dead in a moment. I feel fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, my twisted imagery aside. But no, I do completely agree with you. I will be serious for 1 second. Only 1 second. But, like, no, I completely agree. Like, it is, just, like, this movie kept me guessing. I will give it complete credit. Like, I didn't know where it was gonna go. Like, it kept me curious. It kept my attention. So in that regard, it's pretty damn good alone.
Yeah.
But it is well written. It does cover its tracks most of the time, aside from, like, the stuff that I've nitpicked.
Yeah.
But it's like, it comes back to, it's like, I want to see more. I want to see more of this world. I'm curious about the little things. So it's like, if a movie can do that without me just looking for reasons that I didn't like it, it's doing something right. And this movie does do a lot right, and especially considering crop movies. Actually, come to think of it, the movies that are out right now aren't complete. Oh, Tammy aside, aren't completely terrible. Like, this has actually been a better year for movies than, like, anything we had last year.
I'm sorry, but Nothing beat The Hunt last year.
I'm not saying anything's better than The Hunt, but...
Or also, what was it, 12 Years a Slave?
I'm not saying, like, anyway, it's better. I'm just saying, overall, this is a much better year for movies in general. Because, like, we had the Lego movie, which is great.
Yeah.
We have How to Train Your Dragon 2. We have this movie.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Grand Budapest Hotel. And compared to the last movie, we had Smurfs 2, Grown Ups 2, Movie 43, Die Hard 5.
Yeah, well, last year had a lot more crap movies. It also had a lot, overall a lot more good ones, but...
See, I think there's a lot more better movies this year. I mean, this is like the ratio I've seen is vastly. You don't know. You weren't there for the amount of movies I saw.
That's true. For me, it's like there wasn't really too much that absolutely blew my mind though this year. Say for Look, let me put it this way: there's been like only one movie I've seen this year that is the equivalent of Scary Movie 5. Last year we had 3. Fair enough.
So that alone kind of tells you something.
Yeah.
So. I mean, granted, I'm not saying, like, all the movies this year have been great. I'm saying, considering what we've had this year compared to last year, this is a much better year for movies. I'm not nearly as cynical as I was last year.
Fair enough.
So, I'm just putting that into context.
Yeah.
Because, like, the past movies I've seen the past couple weeks, I've really liked. Like, I loved How to Train Your Dragon 2. I thought 22 Jump Street was actually pretty good. I think this is a great movie.
Yeah, I'd say early low note was Transformers.
Even that I didn't hate as much as apparently people get weird about Transformers. That's what I kind of found out.
Yeah, that movie... It had a lot of issues.
It did. I'm like anything you say about Transformers, I will agree with wholeheartedly. It just didn't bother me as much as a lot of people did. But if you say that to people, apparently people don't like that because you already got like one dislike on the Transformers video. Yeah. But anyway, back to this movie. No, like overall, it is a very good movie. It's very interesting. It has a very, very dark ending. But this better not get a sequel.
It won't. It won't.
I mean, there's no way it's going to. It's an indie movie, but
yeah.
But overall, it's like no. It's like I'm glad I made the effort to see it, even though it is like what 11. It's almost like 11:04 right now.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So perhaps.
Yet I still have more to talk about. That's the thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Freaking love the characters in here for one. As you said, they made a lot of them. It's like they gave them all clear-cut reasons for wanting to get to the front. Like it's not just we need to have an upheaval or anything like that. Like that's one of the things, but. A lot of these people have secondary reasons. For like Chris Evans, he's got the sense of redemption. Octavia Spencer's to save her son, and holy crap, they made her a very like good, strong female character. Like they even acknowledge the fact that she's actually, like physically speaking, stronger than most of the men.
Kick some ass.
Yeah, she took a pretty bad beating too.
Just like she can take it and dish it right back. Just Medea smash. I don't know. I feel bad. No, she's much better than Medea. I actually liked her character. Yeah. That was one thing that kind of bothered me. Like the character of Edgar for the major role he plays in the third act didn't really get a lot of development. He was just kind of the Irish dude that screamed at people. I think he's more or less just being more like just kind of like comic relief as far as I could tell. Yeah, but again, considering just the huge dramatic role he plays in the whole story thing, I kind of was hoping that I kind of wish he was a bigger part of the movie. I mean, granted, he's central to the story, like the part, especially the moral choice. I thought was great. Yeah, I would have liked to know more as a person though. I thought Tamara was a much more developed character than Edgar was. Granted, she had more screen time. Yeah, but overall, just an overall much stronger character than Edgar was. Yeah, but.
Although it definitely felt like Edgar, I personally got a lot. Like, it's one thing like they kind of, were able to develop more, like, even posthumously as well. Which I thought, was impressive. While also furthering kind of like that relationship between him and Curtis. Because overall, it's like, the way I saw it, like, he wasn't necessarily meant to be a major person, say, for, like, support for Curtis. And I thought they did a great job, like, developing the bond they had, the relationship they had, even though it's like, it felt more kind of like a thing of guilt than like true friendship, but they clearly had some, because like, say for example, the part where we had to make that choice in the middle of the movie, where it's like, you could just see that regret, where he had to leave behind for the message, like, even though Edgar, like, clearly, he was like, he had that oh shit look, at the same time, it wasn't like one of disdain, it's just like, one like he accepted his fate, even then he'd still took that one last instance to fight, before he...
I thought they weren't going to kill him. I thought he was going to escape and they'd have to deal with it. I thought they were going to have that confrontation where he's like, what the hell was that? And no, I was like, I'm actually glad we didn't, though, because I thought that would have been really annoying. He's like, you get why he's doing it. Yeah. Tactically, it makes perfect sense. It's just a sucky decision. Yeah. And so it's like, that's the thing. Everything Chris Evans does in this movie makes complete sense. Yeah. Like notice how I haven't nitpicked his character at all, because everything he does makes sense within his character.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Evans, I guess, is probably really grateful to be actually able to flex his acting muscles. Not that Captain America doesn't demand a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not quite the emotional role. Yeah. And Chris Evans is a good actor. He is.
Yeah. And basically, the interesting thing is, like, despite the fact he, does a lot of stuff in the moral gray area, he almost, like, kind of represented justice in a way. Because, like, everything he did was, meant to be, like, for the good of the people.
But could you argue that
even though he didn't always work out.
Could you argue, especially towards the end of the movie, definitely does come more on the dark side, though? Can you argue that justice is corruptible from that regard?
Yeah. Like, they found a way to, like, waive his moral test, but even then, it's like, it was, once again, it was that idea that he would possibly do it for the sake of the people, again.
But could you argue that's a based off your judgment?
Yeah, no, like, that
a metaphor for how justice can change depending on the circumstances?
And, like, that's one of the things I think they did a great job kind of exploring throughout the movie itself as well, in terms of, like, basically, like, the one for the many, when is one or the other acceptable for the other. And it's, like, the idea that, are you willing to sacrifice...
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah. And also just... Are you willing to sacrifice everything for, for, like, one thing, or will to sacrifice one thing for everything?
You can argue that if we're going the metaphorical route, you can definitely argue that John Hurt much more represents sacrifice in that regard. And that sacrifice and justice, how they work kind of work hand in hand until sacrifice is gone, in which case only justice prevails. Wow, you can really make a metaphorical argument here now, come to think of it. This got really kind of philosophical, didn't it?
Yeah. I was kind of thinking about it, like, through the entire movie, because, like, it made, like, these moral arguments just so clear.
See, like, I didn't think about it until you brought it up, then my brain started doing the process, and then just went, whoa!
Congratulations, I just unlocked your mind.
Oh, God, don't say that phrase, please. I've dealt with way too many hippies that have used that same phrase.
Fair enough.
Cannabis has done not open your mind, by the way. I'm sorry. Fuck you guys. Watch, it's gonna find the hippie community. There goes my entire fan base.
They're probably so stoned they don't even know what the heck they just saw.
Now they go even more. Great. Thanks, Grant.
Don't worry, I support your decisions.
Tell Kermit all these goddamn hippies. Anyway, sorry. Let's go back to the more serious philosophical talk rather than why I don't like hippies. Yeah.
I thought, but for the most part, as you said, this movie does a very good job kind of exploring the ideas of, like...
No, there's definitely a lot of different arguments you can take from it. It's one of those movies you can thoroughly analyze and come up with your own theories. Kind of like the one I just spitballed, 5 minutes ago. And it's like, it is very interesting from that perspective. The social commentary that is there is very good. I guess that's why I was annoyed when some of it became so cartoony that it kind of took me out of that.
But back to the whole idea of, like, even the best intentions kind of, like, can, like, someone be corrupted or at least kind of lose their impact. Like, that was something kind of, as I said, I saw throughout, like, the idea of the world changing for the better time, and then all of a sudden it just kind of went back to crap again. Mm-hmm. It's like, that is one thing is, like, this film had a lot of different cycles in terms of, like, how the, society or the world can just, like, be destroyed and become anew again. It's like this idea that will just all eventually repeat itself.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of arguments there. I guess some parts just threw me off, like, I didn't really have my philosophical brain turned on. Like, the part when you get to the room with the X-Men, and one of the X guys just grabs a X-Men. Ha! I made it funny. Wolverine's in front. But anyway, they just grab a fish, and they just start gutting the fish. Yeah. And I was like, dude, you guys already have axes. You're already plenty scary. You don't need the fish.
Yeah, but definitely emphasize the point of, like, this, we're gonna gut you.
Still, like, I think the whole scary mask with teeth and
because that seemed like that also seemed like a message like you may want to just close the door now.
That would have been
because remember Ed Harris did say, like, the point was for you to was
like they're supposed to end right there.
Yeah, that you're supposed to end and turn back.
Mm. But no, we have torches now. Rah rah. Yeah. And then
still love how they turned the tide of that battle just like 3 different ways.
How many matches did that guy have anyway? Was it a full book or was it like
he had a few?
Yeah, because they lit a lot of torches. So, well, I guess all you need is one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also, I just love that relay race thing. It's like, oh my god, it's the Olympics!
And maybe not John Turturro, here he comes.
Yeah.
With one arm missing. Raw!
God, that was another brutal thing at the beginning. Just
There's like a lot of brutal imagery. Towards the end, he just like goes for broke. And just, especially that fight with the Psycho in the sauna, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Just breaking every bone and just destroying everything.
Yep.
But, no, like, and now you mentioned, like, the more you talk about it, the more it was like, yeah, I'm glad it does kind of go beyond just the rich and the poor side comparison that we've seen so many times. And it's just like, yeah, we kind of get it with that storyline. It's like, it's one of those things. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I like it when you take old ideas and you do something new with it. And this is a very unique concept. I can't think of many movies that take place on a train, or at least in this way. So it's like, I like that it is an old cliche, we've seen it a million times, but it is taken in a different direction, and they do try new things with it, and that's what keeps it from getting boring. And that's what keeps me engaged in the movie, is the fact that they're experimenting with it. They're not just rehashing what I've seen before. Like, they're not rehashing the Hunger Games, or they're not rehashing God knows the millions of movies that have this same, pretty much, argument. And they're not focused simply on that either. They're not doing like poor or the oppressed, the rich or the pompous, and we need to murder all the rich, very much. Which it's kind of a fucked up message, actually.
Yeah, because like you see, like there's a lot of people that just like when they got to the train, it's like, you know, these people like weren't all fighting, they just like kind of just living. They were standing by, like they didn't like get involved or anything. Mm-hmm. So like they were showing like there were a lot of people that just kind of, you know, they were better off, but they were also still kind of on the neutral ground. Like they weren't trying to be oppressed or anything.
Just like, okay, I'm just gonna stay out of this. You guys do whatever you're gonna do. I was surprised the Ravers came back though. I didn't think they would really care enough. Just to face off against Asian Gandalf standing there for one bridge.
Yeah. By the way, I couldn't help but feel like the daughter was kind of like Ellie.
Maybe? I guess I can see what you're saying.
I mean, obviously someone who was a bit more akin to drugs and alcohol, but like she had a certain, you know, innocent naivety.
Not necessarily. I think Ellie, you're referring to Last of Us, Ellie, right? I thought Ellie from Last of Us had a much harder edge than this character did, because Ellie wasn't afraid to kill.
Keep in mind, though, like, she didn't really make... She was killing zombies, though. Remember the part when she actually...
No, she had no... And, like, before the part I know which part you're talking about, but that's only because they kind of had a history before that whole fight went down. Mm-hmm. Before then, in the game, she had no issue with killing people. But, like, there are parts where like, in the game where you see her stab people in the back. She had no...
Yeah, but that didn't happen until the end, though.
No, I don't think so. I think there were parts beforehand that were...
No, because they made it clear that that was her first major kill.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe. I don't know. I thought there was some stuff beforehand.
Well, maybe there was, but even then, it's like, these are... I'm not sure. Then again, I guess the context of the thing was kind of different.
Exactly.
Well.
That's kind of why I took it.
Like,
but anyway, that's
it's like
franchise.
But for the most part, though, I kind of got, like, said that little naive... You know, her personality-wise, like, obviously, aside from the killing thing, I saw some kind of parallels, but the idea of, you know, just, like... She had kind of like that wide-eyed wonder of the world around her, you know.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Going back to that Last of Us thing, she killed like 20 people before you even get to that part where you're talking about.
Probably. It's been all since I played the game, so...
Yeah, because you have to go this whole sequence where you have to sneak your way out, but you run into him, and you have to kill like 50 people before you get to that point. So...
Right, never mind.
Yeah, it's like, haha, I'm right.
Fair enough.
But anyway, back to the movie.
Well, that's okay. I was right about 22 Jump Street, so ha.
Touche. So lord that one over my head. Well, it shut me up, so I did something right.
Yeah. But you get what I mean, though. It's just this idea, like she.
I don't really see it, but I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah. But because you notice, like throughout the entire time, though, like the father always tries to keep her from actually killing anyone. No.
Yeah, he does, but Joel in Last of Us didn't really do that.
I'd say it was slightly different scenario. Once again, different scenario, though, but... Because she kind of had to kill or survive, where it's like, clearly, despite the vices, like, she was a relatively innocent person.
Yeah, I mean, I thought her character was much more innocent than Ellie in Last of Us, but that's...
Yeah, no, I agree. Ellie was much more interesting in general. But still, God, how long have we been talking about this movie? That just shows how much we like this thing.
I know, right? There's a lot to talk about, clearly.
Yeah.
Let's see, we start about almost an hour, I think.
Damn.
I think we got in like, what, 10:20, 10:30?
I'd say probably about, like 10.
No, we got a movie around 10:10, I remember.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay, then yeah, almost an hour.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, it's 11:17 right now. So...
is there even much else to talk about then? Or you think...
I think...
Well, there is, but we
can probably spend way more time talking
so
about
let's
it, but we should
not
probably
do
just
that.
wrap it up, or at least move on to trailers. So, yeah, obviously, I think it's pretty clear. Go see the movie if you can find it. We got a lot of trailers. I'm trying to remember what some of these are. Which one was Kill the Messenger?
That was one with Jeremy Renner. Basically, talked about the drug trade that was going from Nicaragua to America. How basically... I think it was cocaine. Was it cocaine or heroin?
Oh, yeah, that's the one with the reporter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I made the community joke. That's... that one looks... It can go either way.
Yeah.
It's a case like Chris Evans in this movie, where it's like, it's Jeremy Renner actually being able to flex his acting muscles. So,
yeah.
Let's see if he can actually pull it off. I mean, I liked him in, what was that movie he was in last year with Christian Bale?
Oh, American Hustle.
American Hustle, that was it. I liked him in that. I thought he was good in that.
Well,
so.
I haven't enjoyed the majority of stuff I've seen him in.
You clearly haven't seen the stuff I've seen him in. Hansel and Gretel.
Well, yeah, I didn't bother watching that because, I had common sense.
I didn't want to see it either, but, then I started doing this shit on, like, the worst movies worst year in movies in God knows how long. That's such a terrible year. That's why I'm so glad this year is so much better. It's so much better, guys. You have no idea.
I'd say, yeah, this year's been much more even. Like, nothing quite as spectacular as last year so far, but... But the deaths of crapulence, it's nowhere near that all.
I mean, most of the Oscar movies don't come out till, like, November, so we still got half a year.
Okay. This better win Best Foreign Film.
It won't. Can you really count this as a foreign film, technically? Because it's all in English.
For the majority. But it is a foreign film, though, because, like, it was... I don't know what the hell it is, truth be told. But, anyway, let's get on with the trailers.
Okay, yeah. Okay, this is the movie that should have been getting more funding for advertisement, not that fucking I, Frankenstein. I, Origins?
Oh, yeah.
Which one was that one?
That's the one where it had a guy that looked like Johnny Depp who was a photographer or something like that. He meets...
Oh, that bull!
Yeah. That
trailer pissed me off. Okay, so I have to rant about this one, because this one's like, this is such complete horse shit. It's like watching the trailer for Lucy. I have the same reaction. It's like, scientifically, this is all bull. So the concept is for some inane reason...
While you talk about that, I'm going to look up the cast, make sure that was Michael Pitt.
Okay, for a second, I was like, you didn't leave your phone in there, did you?
Oh, no, I'm not that dumb.
I don't know if you've done it before, but... anyway, so, oh, God. So this guy, for some reason, like, decides to follow, like, some fate signals involving ones, I guess. And he runs to this billboard that has these gigantic eyes, and he decides it's this fate or something like that.
Yeah.
And
I was like, oh, don't tell us like a number 23 ripoff.
Oh, God, number 23. But, so he goes over to this girl who has the same, did that advertisement, and they fall in love, and they get married, and then they basically give away the whole movie in the trailer.
What was it called again?
I, Origins. So...
It was Michael Pitt! I was right!
Yep, Michael Pitt, the same guy cut off his own face in Hannibal.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah, this movie's not doing so well.
Anyway, I, Origins, and... It really the part that follows next, and by the way, they said, like, why are you so... hardened to disprove God and like all that spiritual stuff. Like, here's the thing, and it says like I don't believe anything that doesn't have proof. Here's the thing:
the point of science is to find proof to disprove it.
No,
or find.
There's really
not really that bad wording.
There's really not much that such thing as proof. It's all basically correlations and causation and stuff like that. We don't really have proof in the definitive way we define proof. Proof has a very different meaning in the scientific community.
Yeah.
And so it's like you kind of butchering the meaning here, guys. And then there was the whole thing. It's like, wait, there's this thing where she might have like there's this other kid that has the exact same eye pattern, and it's like that must mean they're the exact same person. And they're like, bull. I'm sorry, the complete bullshit. We have a genetic anomaly thing where like we have billions and billions of genes going across all over the world. There is basically a 1 in a trillion chance of that actually happening, but it's still a chance that something like that could actually physically happen. So it's like, no, that can actually happen.
Yeah.
It's incredibly small chance of that happening, but there's such generic variety that something like similars like that are bound to come up sooner or later.
Yeah.
So your whole concept is complete horse crap. Rant over. All right. You got anything to say, High Origins? Sorry.
What was the thing we both thought? Wow, what a terrible Apple ad.
Apple tie-in, yeah. This one I actually remember. A Most Wanted Man, which one that Philip Seymour Hoffman, which I'm assuming was like...
Oh yeah, the one that was done, that was based on a story by the guy who did Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah, and that's what got my attention, because I really liked Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and I also liked... What was that movie that they listed? They listed 2 movies. It was a Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and it was one other kind of spy movie.
I can't remember. I didn't see that one, nor have I heard of it, so...
Either way, I was like, ooh, I like both those things. You have my attention now. Because that is Philip Seymour Hoffman, may he rest in peace, doing a German accent. Everyone's like... I was one that kind of know him. He's like, you have a clearly German movie with all American actors. You couldn't hire one German guy? I don't know. That's, again, a small thing. I mean, it's talented people. I mean,
Christoph Waltz, where are you?
Why isn't Christoph Waltz in this movie? He would have been perfect. Just say you get Rachel McAdams? The chick from the freaking Notebook?
Although, in all fairness, unlike a... what was that movie? Frickin'... Oh, Valkyrie. We're basically like...
Here's a German guy who speaks perfect American accent.
Yeah. It's like, why is this German guy American and British and I don't know what the hell?
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it's, I don't know, he's at least...
So at least they all have kind of that, you know, the proper accent.
Where's Kevin Bacon? He had a great German accent. X-Men First Class?
All right.
You know, the drei, zwei... that's all I know.
Right.
Next one. I wasn't excited for this until I saw this trailer. The Purge Anarchy. And I'm going to tell you why I'm excited for it. The only reason I like the last one is because it was so incredibly cheesy. And I thought this one's going to take itself much more seriously until I saw the auction scene in the trailer where there's a bunch of rich, pompous people auctioning off the people they captured of the day for killing. And all the people, like, they're sitting there with their wine glasses. They're doing the evil downward glare.
So that time you're okay with the rich, over-the-top...
Because at least I can laugh at it. Yeah. That's like...
I understand, because, like, within, like, that, you know, Snowpiercer took itself much more seriously, so...
Like this, Snowpiercer took itself much more seriously. This was like, this is so stupid. It's so, like, there's a threshold of stupid you have to cross before it gets really funny. And, like, the first Purge did that, and it was glorious because it was so stupid. This one looks like it's gonna repeat the same thing. You're like, I'm like, yay, happy day,
it's
happy
just like,
day.
It looked like Hostel meets the Hunger Games.
I know! I'm gonna love every cheesy second of it. Because this first... like that's the only movie. The Purge is the only movie me and Armand actually disagree on because he actually really liked it. I thought it was terrible, but there's like no one else in this parking lot. But then we got, what was the other one we got?
Expendables 3.
Expendables 3. Yeah. Oh wait. Well, we also got The Giver, but let's talk about Expendables 3.
I don't remember what the hell happened in The Giver.
That was one with Jeff Bridges.
Oh, right.
But who cares? This is about Expendables 3!
Yeah. What's The Giver? Basically a dramatized version of Pleasantville. That's all you gotta know.
I just kind of interpret it as Divergent 2.
That too.
But either way, Expendables 3! Yeah! I was like, this is another, like, light bulb moment for me, because I knew Mel Gibson was gonna be in this, but I never read about the story.
Yeah. And you're like, I remember you was like, he's the villain? I was like, you didn't know? Oh, yeah!
I was like,
it's like, now I'm more excited.
This is gonna be fantastic. I hope they didn't give him a script. I just gotta hope they let him run with it. Because it's like letting Charlie, it's like giving Charlie Sheen acid and asking him to do the news. No matter what you get, it's gonna be amazing. So I want to see over the top Mel Gibson going full on South Park.
You know what's gonna be over the top? Just because the motorcycle thing, they showed the newest trailer, which you hadn't seen finally.
Obviously,
which they also made fun of the fact that Wesley Snipes, you know, just recently got out of prison.
Oh, did he finally? I didn't.
Yeah, he got out a little while ago. Like that's why.
That's why the Blade franchise.
Yeah, long time. Yeah, good to be back. And so like. I just love how self-aware these movies are. And And like, was the whole short notice thing, I think, with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like how he's one of the guys who got signed on, kind of like, in the last minute. What else? The motorcycle!
Yeah, the motorcycle. It's like this defying gravity. That's all I got to say. This is just giant middle finger to physics. So that's the Expendables franchise in a nutshell right there. It's a gigantic middle finger to physics.
Yeah. Like, I was not a fan of the first one, but I really liked the second one just because, like, it was the right kind of over the top that barely took itself seriously. It's like, if they do the same thing, I will be happy.
I will
be happy.
I want to see a scene in the Expendables 3 where it's a final showdown between Sylvester Stallone and Mel Gibson, and he goes, "You know who's really to blame for all this? The two." Like, we have lost the signal. We'll be back momentarily, and then back to the fight scene. You don't even see the scene. Next scene is in rehab.
You'll calm down after this.
Now I'm gonna die one day. I'm gonna explain all this to God. He's gonna look at me and go, "What the hell was that joke?" It's like, well, it was funny at the time. At least I thought so.
Yeah, and then we got 40 negative reviews. Although, in all fairness,
we've made far worse jokes.
Yes.
Sorry about Vampire Academy. So, I can't wait. I'm not like I'm making these jokes on my own intent. It's Mel Gibson. He basically writes the jokes for me.
Yep.
So and that's why I can't wait. It's gonna be fantastic. So you got anything else?
What else to say? It's just a very, like, well thought out movie.
It's been a good night.
Yeah. It's just great characters, many of them just so morally ambiguous, or like, they all have these thought processes you can understand. Like, it's one of those you're like, yeah, they're opposing opinions, but at the same time, they find ways to make them, like, logically work. And, like, it's so rare to find something like that. God, what else? It's like, it's kind of like, with Alan Moore and The Watchmen, well...
Giant squid aside.
Yeah, the giant squid aside.
Yeah.
God, what else?
Well, it wasn't realistic. We got giant blue penis and then gigantic squid. No, actually, it was just blue penis. Jack Snyder made it a giant blue penis.
And then Legend of Hercules made it a really big
lightning penis. I'm tired of this world. You just want to end it there. On the lightning penis sword. Again! I'm back with a vengeance. Watchmen 2. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan. And his Empire State. That's how a super serious review ends. On a penis joke. Good night, everybody.
We should really give this thing the ending it deserves, though.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a 50-foot Empire State penis.
Just watch the movie. It is so damn good.
Yeah, go see the movie. This has been a fun night. I can't wait for Expendables 3. That review is going to be fantastic. Just imagine the jokes we can make. It's kind of hard to believe that Harrison Ford was fine throughout all making Expendables 3, but just 5 minutes of Star Wars 7. Ow!
My leg.
Motherfucker. Good night.
Good night.